Kitco News, special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse, is brought to you by O3 Mining.
Why is silver so explosive? Willem Middlekoop is here to explain. Willem, welcome to Kitco.
Great to be back at Kitco. You know, actually I bought physical silver with Kitco in 2002. And then we had this big transport truck driving up our alley, and then they loaded out the silver, and turned out you guys filled on the tax forms it was gold, so I didn't have to pay the 21% tax, which is on silver. So thank you for that, Kitco.
Willem,
Okay.
let's we're gonna get to silver. We're gonna tease it right now, but obviously where we are right now is we've had the big inflation news. Your thoughts on what has actually happened with the CPI numbers that came out and the reaction to precious metals?
Well, we were always told that it was transitory and it's just a short blip. But when you have CPI over 6% in the US, and we all know, you know, the model has been changed. So if you use the 1980s model to calculate the official inflation, you'll end up with 13-14%. You have this shadowstats.com, he still uses that old model. So I think many people understand it's not 6%, it's way higher.
Break down the transitory arguments right now. So what you hear on the other side is that, you know, this is blippy. We've seen what has happened with lumber. We've seen what has happened with iron ore. You've seen these have come up and they've come down again. It's just a supply chain issue. Krugman, for instance, was on the in his New York Times today saying that think about what actually happened in the instance with the 1940s, where you actually had change from World War to actually a consumer economy. So this is something that will just pass.
Well, nobody's mentioning the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that's money growth and currency debasement. 25%, almost 25% of all dollars in circulation, M2, so that's deposit and physical money, it grew by almost 25% in the last 18 months. So it's not strange when the money supply is growing so enormous and supply of goods isn't increased with those amounts. Look at real estate. You can't buy houses like that. You can't buy cars like that. So then it's a normal reaction that everything the government can't print will go up in value. And don't forget, we speak a lot to high net worth investors. I've been warning for 20 years about this this trend. And a lot of high net worth investors are really getting, well, scared by everything going on in the monetary world. So they take out money from bank accounts because they don't get any interest rates there. And they look for investments in everything the government can't print, and you can't blame them. And that's all you should do. That's all you should know.
High net worth individuals, we hear that some people that are getting worried about inflation are looking at crypto as options. We also hear that buy anything that is going to be fixed. How do you see that people are protecting themselves against inflation? How do you think people should be protecting themselves against inflation?
Well, we meet these people every day. Like, I think your company benefits from this trend as well. And what I learned that after the start of the Lehman crisis in 2008, there was a very small group who was really getting interested and studying how the financial system worked and what currency debasement is. But with the growth of crypto, especially Bitcoin, there's a huge crowd out there now. Also the younger people, you know, the millennials who really understand that the way our money system works it's not an honest system. And then you have the boomers who really made a lot of money and who saw their net worth increase a lot. And because they don't get any interest now on their bank accounts, on the saving account, and that makes them mad, you know. They don't want to invest, they don't want to speculate, but when you give them penalties for just being a saver, then they'll take their money from the bank and run. And then they start to read books and listen to interviews like this, and then they think, yeah, we have to buy all the government can't print. That's simple.
Turning to silver, why is it such a crucial piece for the monetary system?
it's crucial in many respects. It's crucial for the monetary system because it's poor man's gold. So anything that happens with silver happens to gold. So if there would be shortages in silver, if the paper shorts would be overrun, on the future markets, that would have huge repercussions because then gold is vulnerable as well. But there's also the commodity part, because in each and every iPhone or smartphone or computer, a tiny bit of silver is being used. And it's such a small amount and the value is not that high. So a lot of that is not recycled. So we're losing silver. We're not losing gold. Gold is that valuable, will always be recycled. But we're wasting and we're losing silver. And if you study the supply and demand for silver, we've been in a production deficit for almost 50 years. President Johnson in the 1960s said, let's stop minting coins, silver coins, because there will be a shortage of silver. That's the reason why we stopped minting silver coins. So this has been building for 50 years, and it's an accident waiting to happen. And I always like to quote my mentor, Eric Sprott, and he said that when this system fails, this paper silver selling system with all the futures, you will see $100 within a week.
Within your Twitter feed, and it's a good follow, I would recommend to people. But you've also been commenting a lot about what's happening in China right now. What's been happening, for instance, with the property developer Evergrande?
Yeah. Well, I just tweeted this morning because we have a Hong Kong-based researcher, Samson Lee, and he has some people who are tipping him off on things happening on the mainland. And if you see the videos of the crowds currently buying physical gold and silver just in the shops in mainland China, and you should understand there's quite a bit of money circulating among people in China, but they can't send it abroad. It's not an open capital markets. So normally all this money was invested into real estate, of most of the money. And now with the Evergrande crisis, people get scared to buy more real estate. And then one of the very few things they can buy is gold and silver. And from the history and the background of the Chinese culture, it's very normal to buy gold and silver. I think the physical demand from mainland China will be incredible, and we'll see that in a few months in the official numbers.
A lot of things happening right now. What are key trends that you're going to be looking for over the next 12 months?
Well, we have a lot of moving parts. I did another interview pointing out all the crises now we have. We have a food crisis developing, because look at the prices of fertilizers. We have an energy crisis. Of course, we still have the COVID crisis. We have a logistics crisis. And I think a labor crisis. I think many of these crises are not easy to solve. And it's a bit like dominoes, and they're all affecting each other. But I think the root of the problem, the core of the problem, is the currency debasement, which has been ongoing since 1971, since we took the dollar off the gold standard. And I think, now it's the time that we learn what will happen when you debase currency for over 50 years. And then it will be very difficult to solve this problem and to turn it around.
Willem, thanks for speaking with Kitco.
Pleasure.
My name is Michael McRae. Stay tuned for more video from Deutsche Goldmesse.
Kitco News special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse is brought to you by O3 Mining.